Just another brother with another humble question. Just another brother with another humble question.
Welcome to another episode of A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period, and thank y'all for joining me. We are about to react to a video here from The View. The View, man. The View is like a gift that keeps on giving. Man, but before I get there, man, thank y'all for joining me. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Castbox. Like and subscribe, man. Check us out. See what we're doing on all those channels. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for the new subscribers we got coming, man. I appreciate y'all for joining me on this ride that we call A Brother with Questions, man. But let's go ahead and dive right into this video. So in the video, Sonny is talking about what Republicans are doing. So let's take a look at what Sonny has to say.
What we're seeing by the Republican Party, and I give it to them, we're seeing a long game. We're seeing that they are dismantling or attempting to dismantle institutions. All of a sudden, the most elite colleges and universities in the world, which, by the way, they all went to. Everybody in the Supreme Court went there. Elise Stefanik went there. All the Congress people went there. Ted Cruz went there.
So the first thing, and this is the part that I agree with her. One of the biggest differences that I see between Democrats and Republicans is Republicans understand the long game. The Republicans aren't trying to win today. The Republicans are trying to win 10 years from now. So they're looking for today, and they're making moves that will now allow them to maintain some sort of power 10 years from now. To me, Democrats are too moment focused. So in the moment, there's this thing that's happening. How do we capitalize on this one thing? Instead of thinking about the long game that, this thing is going to go away and people are going to forget it, right? I go back to 2020 and it was George Floyd. George Floyd had me, man, we got to focus on this thing and connect Republicans to this thing, and that's how we'll win in 2020. Well, here we are in 2024. There's no George Floyd. There's no major racial event occurring across the country. What are they going to do now? Let's keep going.
Those schools are not good enough anymore because now people that don't look like them were getting in. Affirmative action.
So let's go. Let's stop right there. So she's then talking about how the Republicans, this is what she's focused on in this video, how most of them went to the Harvards and the Yales of America and those Ivy League schools. And now they're saying she says they're breaking up these institutions because people who look like them, the Republicans, as she would say, aren't getting into these schools as much. And that right there, this is where me and Sonny go to our respective corners, because that just to me is a falsehood and a lie. Okay? The minorities are not getting into these schools at a higher rate than they were previously. It's just not true. It's just not true. Okay? And really who she's talking about, when she say minorities, she's really talking about black people. Because if you pay attention to Sonny really only care about black people. And so that's what you're talking about. And black people are not getting in at some astronomical rate higher than what they used to get in years past. It's just not true. So this idea that the Republicans who've gone to these Ivy League schools are changing the rules to ensure that more Republicans, ergo white people, get in, so that the minorities aren't, it's just not true. It's just not true. It is just not true. These schools are still majority, they're still the majority. White people are still the majority at all of these schools. White people are still the majority of the major donors to all of these schools. And so not much has changed. The only thing that's changed is the conversation. But the reality is the population is exactly the same almost as it used to be. Okay? And as far as formative action, come on, man. Come on. Does anybody really believe affirmative action is still needed in today? Does anybody really? Let's go.
Why? So that people that don't look like them don't get in. Women don't have reproductive rights anymore over their own bodies. Why? So they can have power
Here's another
over
point.
women.
What is she talking about? Women don't have reproductive rights. First of all, in the majority of states in the United States, there is abortion is still legal. The only thing the Supreme Court did was make a decision that it was no longer going to be monitored from the federal level. They were now going to allow states to make individual state decisions about what to do about abortion. And so what makes me or turns my grill or whatever the word you want to use, it just bothers me that we act like the Supreme Court said abortion was illegal across the United States. That is not what they said. They simply said every state has a right to create their own abortion rights. Now, are there people who are creating bills that would make abortion less available in certain states? Yes, they are. But that's a part of the problem of the people in the state, because you're the ones who elected these people who are in your state Congress and your state Senate. You're the one who elected the governor of your state. So if you don't like the rules that they create, you simply get together, get a core group of people who believe what you believe, and begin to vote the state senators, state congressmen, the governor out of the office that they hold, and then get your new governor who you like to change the rules. But the Supreme Court did not end abortion across this country. I wish people would just tell the truth and talk about what they did, and then start mobilizing the individual people in their states and change the rules that you don't like by voting in the people that you want to put in. The people who are on the other side, the Republicans, they're the ones who've been playing the long game that she's complaining about. They've been putting the state congressmen in place that might create a bill that would make it difficult to have an abortion in your state. They've been putting in the state senators. They've been voting in the governors. Where are you, Democratic women, or women who think abortion should be illegal, all the way up to whatever you think it is? Put the people in place, and then you can have your abortion. It's as simple as that. But it is not people, quote unquote, taking away your power as women. I don't know why we frame this falsehood argument that people are doing that, especially when we consider abortion is still legal in most states in America up until a certain point. It's just not true.
Why is French and Mandarin and Spanish being taken away from our public schools so that we can be a monolingual society and can't compete globally? We, the Republicans, are intent.
First of all, I'm still in the school system, and I don't know. I haven't heard any laws in place, at least in my state, where they're taking away foreign language from the schools. Matter of fact, foreign language is still a requirement at most major universities in this country. You are required to take 2 years of foreign language. So how are we simultaneously taking foreign language out of school and also requiring it to get into every major university in this country? Make it make sense. We're taking away foreign language, but we're making it a requirement to get into most major universities. Make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. But even let's take it on a broader level. What's wrong with learning English in America? If I were to move to Mexico, the people in Mexico are going to expect me to learn some Spanish to be able to communicate with those people, and not expect me to be able to just keep my English accent and everything English about me. And they submit to me speaking English to them all the time. If I move to France, those people expect me to learn French and to communicate with them in French and not just speak English to them, right? So why is it so crazy that we would expect people who come to America to learn some English and not just never learned the language. I don't get why that is such a problem for certain people. It just doesn't make sense to me when we would need to learn somebody else's language when we go to their country, but when you come to ours, we need to learn yours. Make it make sense. Don't make sense.
Intentionally dumbing down our electorate, erasing history so that past can become prologue and so they can remain in power.
Speaking of dumbing down our electorate, that's what the Republicans are doing? Are you kidding me? First of all, that's not a Republican thing. That's a government thing. The Democrats nor the Republicans want anybody really reading into what they're doing. Can we be honest? Because here's my thing. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. And quite frankly, I don't really give any one party more credit than the other, only on certain issues, but not all together. I would never tell you one is better than the other. They're both trash. They both have the same goal, to remain in power for the reasons that they choose to remain in power. They both don't want anybody really reading about what they're doing, because if they ever did, they would not really want to vote for some of these people again. So that dumbing down is exactly what both parties want. That's not a Republican thing. That's a political thing. Because when you start peeling back these layers, it doesn't add up on either side completely. Come on, man. Can we be honest?
Grievance politics at its best, and it's because people see what Sarah was saying. I can't pay my electric bill. My gas bill's high. I need my food. And why is that? Why is my station in life like this? It's because that black guy got into Harvard and became president.
Seriously? I don't know anybody who is still blaming Obama for the problems going on today. Matter of fact, I don't know. I've never heard a news story who's blaming Obama for what's happening right now in the country today. I know who they are blaming. They're blaming Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the person who's catching blame for the reason why people can't pay their electric bill, for the reason why gas prices are so high. They are blaming Joe Biden. Now, what is Joe Biden doing? Joe Biden is doing his best to blame Trump still. 4 years in, and he's still trying to tell us everything is Trump's fault. So where is this narrative that they're blaming Obama? Nobody's blaming Obama. Man, Obama is... I'm not going to go down that path. But Obama, come on, man. I haven't heard anybody blame Obama. I've heard everybody blame Biden, and I've heard Biden blame Trump. But I haven't heard anybody talking about Obama being the reason why we are where we are today. That is just such a falsehood. Maybe that's the narrative you want to sell to us, but that is not the narrative that the media is talking about.
Or it's because that immigrant is over there doing better than driving a nicer car than I'm driving. It's grievance politics, but culture wars specific. And I wish people could see it in that way, because this is not
the one thing we
accident.
will agree on is it's definitely not by accident, because
why is my station in
it's
life
definitely
like
not
this?
by accident, because this is the position that they both want us to be in. They both want us to look at the plight of America today and then blame the opposite party on why it is that way. Okay? So again, immigrants driving nicer cars. I'm sure there's an immigrant that drives a nicer car than an American, but I've never heard anybody blame their plight on the fact that immigrants are driving nicer cars than Americans. A lot of times when they're driving nicer cars, it's because of the opportunities that they have. Right? So I look at in our state, I look at the construction industry. The construction industry in Florida is booming across Florida. When you look at a lot of the people who are doing these construction jobs, a lot of them tend to, at some point, maybe they were born here, but they have a parent that came from Mexico, and now they are working on construction sites. They're doing the roofing, they're doing the framing, they're laying the concrete, right? Now, is that a Democrat or Republican party? Or maybe are some of these people might be doing better than the average American? Yeah, but it's because they started a business and now are taking advantage of the opportunities that are being given to them. That's what people come here for. That's not a Joe Biden problem. That's not a problem of a Republican. Now maybe if the border was a little bit tighter, maybe some of them wouldn't get in. But let's be honest, both of them are lip surfacing us on that front. Okay, because no matter who's president, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, the people are still coming over the border. Maybe if you look at the numbers, they say they've been increased during Joe Biden's era. But let's be honest, they were still coming over in the millions during Donald Trump. So neither party is really solving that problem, because the truth is neither probably wants to solve the problem. They both want to blame that problem on each other so that they can kick it down to the next election cycle, so that it can be another point that they can argue against each other and blame each other to keep us fractioned, or to keep us, what's the word I'm looking for? To keep us fighting each other, to say it's his fault or it's their fault, without ever allowing anybody to truly take blame for the problem and actually come up with a real solution, instead of pontificating about well, if I would, but they won't let me, which is a conversation that we keep having in our Congress today. And so I'll end with this. The thing that frustrates me about her conversation is she calls, or she pretends, in my opinion, to be someone who's trying to bring people together, but all she does is aggravate the things that separate us and then continue to separate us further. And so I say the problem, Sonny, are people like you, people who won't look to find the middle ground solutions to the problem, who keep us focused on, well, he's better than him, and I know he don't do everything, but he's still better than him. No, they're all suck. They never do what they say they're going to do. And it's time for the American people to stand up and truly hold people accountable for what they want, and stop blaming a particular side because you think that side is better. They're not better. They both have the same goal, power. They argue in front of us. They have lunch and play golf together behind our back. These people are not enemies. These people are friends. And the goal should not be to tell me what side is better. The goal should be to find people who are going to actually create solutions, put them in office, and then look to create a better country that is more unified and focused on the country doing better collectively as a whole, instead of keeping us bottled into our corners and arguing from our soapboxes. And on that note, I'm out, man. I appreciate y'all for joining me, man. This is B. Period, and I am out.